statement.
Well, definitely thankful to have a home game. Excited to play in front of our crowd. We're going to need our students, and my message to our students is to return to campus safely. Obviously, when they're in the building, doing and making the impact that they make is a great atmosphere. And the first 1,000 students receives a replica jersey and obviously some food. But as it relates to our guys, we're just going to continue to try to find weaknesses in our system and attempt to make sure that we remain consistent. I think last game, our ability to make free throws was a weakness for us. So those are things that we want to continue to concentrate on. And obviously, we lost the raw numbers of rebounding by 1, and we won the rate, and that's important too. But that was the game that we lost, the rebounding raw numbers, and I think that's something that we got to get back to.
All right, questions for Coach?
Coach, when you're coming off of a win as important as you had on Tuesday, how significant is it to your resume, your tournament resume, not to sort of give that one back at the next call last game?
I think the big picture is in our conference, and you guys saw it when we began conference play. The strength of schedule, we had the top 16 spots, and our conference allows us to play games of this caliber, and you just want the opportunities to play well. I thought at Auburn we didn't play well, and we were able to now, against a great opponent on the road, get some consistency and play well. And I thought the 2 home games allowed us that rhythm. The big picture when it comes down to focusing, right? We try not to look too far behind and stay in the moment. And when it comes down to that game, regulation part of the excitement, you have to get back to square one. And we were able to do that and use our templates or practice plans and mentality after the Kansas game, and I thought our guys showed in practice and the focus that they had, the ability to stay humble, so to speak. And we talked about it in our locker room after that game in Gainesville. I specifically talked about those things.
Dennis, I know you highlighted areas you still want to see improvement in, but 2 top 5 wins on the season. What do you think that tells maybe the conference and the nation about this team?
Tough. Our conference is tough. It's a tough conference, and having those wins against some great programs allows us to build, in the process, a resume. We're not done yet. We have to continue to focus in the moment and not think that our next opponent, which in this tough conference, our next opponent is the most important opponent. And what our guys have been focusing on is the consistency part, and that's what I've challenged them to focus in that way.
Coach, you talked before the year about intentionally recruiting size and adding size to the roster during the offseason. How are you seeing that pay dividends in conference play so far?
Well, I think when you look at the size, it has to be versatile, and I think we've addressed the versatility. The one thing I would say is the improvement of our players, right? The improvement of Ant Robinson, the improvement of Trent Pierce, the improvement of, you look at Aiden Shaw. Yes, he didn't play, but he has been improving. And I look for him to make impacts, right? Josh Gray, his size, Peyton Marshall, his size. Those guys, Mark Mitchell, those guys do a great job. But from a top to bottom, pound for pound, I think our team has size at every position. And we got to continue to pursue the basketball offensively and defensively. This league is a very physical league, and you're going to be in position to execute in different ways. You got to execute offensively, execute defensively, because there are some great players that make plays, and more specifically, we got to be able to get to the free throw line like we've been executing at that free throw line, being able to block out and rebound, and being able to hold Florida, who was the number 1 rebounding team in the country. We lost our raw numbers by 1. I'll say that again, but the rebounding rate we won, and that's important per possession.
Coach, what do you see on film with Arkansas that poses a challenge for your team on Saturday?
Well, every game is a challenge in this league, every single game, and to my knowledge, regardless of record, a top 25 team is coming in our building, and that's who they are. I'm not looking at it any other way, hadn't looked at it any other way, but they are a great team coached by a Hall of Fame coach who's won national championships, who's been in this position before, and he's always responded in a way to get his team back to playing.
I just wanted to ask you about Honor Boateng. I know he hasn't played much of late, but just how has he kind of developed and kind of been in your program, and how is he kind of approaching playing against his home state team?
Yeah, Honor Boateng is a great player, and when you look at contributions, I wish our practices were televised. I wish certain things are televised. I think what you see is development. You look at the depth of our team. We have 18 kids, and we're 18 strong. But think about T.O. Barrett's performance in that situation. Honor's gonna have his day because he comes in every day with a great attitude. He comes in focused on the scouting report, and he focuses on unselfishness. And that's just the character of that young man. So his talent is there. When you're playing behind Caleb Grill, when you're playing behind Tamar Bates, you cannot exchange in this league the amount of experience that those guys have. But it's not a competition thing. He's earning everything in the right way. It's just a matter of his opportunity coming up, and I think it will.
Dennis, over the years, what stood out to you about this rivalry with Arkansas?
Well, it's a bordering state, no different than our other rivals in our, in our schedule. I think when you look at the specific history of both programs, it's some great history. There are some great atmospheres in both gyms. I think when you look at the coaching change, a lot of people were shocked and surprised when Coach Kyle ended up going from Kentucky to Arkansas. I was happy that we did not lose a Hall of Fame coach out of our conference, because that's what it's about, the big picture being an SEC. And along with our other programs, is some great tradition, great rivalries, and it has been thus far some great games being played down to the wire, and some great players. So for me, this rivalry or even this game specifically, you look at how football has talked about it or even executed it, but I just think for our players, this is a big game, just like all of our games are big games, because this SEC is one of the best conferences ever assembled, and this point in time is very historic, and I'm excited to see all teams benefit from where we are as we sharpen each other throughout this season, especially when it comes down to postseason play.
Coach, you mentioned that you often emphasize with the team the idea of having endurance. Can you just kind of expand on that and what you've seen from your team that shows that endurance so far?
Well, I just think these kids put so much time into basketball, especially starting in June. Every program in our conference does the same thing, and it's a long season. And ultimately, where we want to go, it began in June. It didn't begin in November. So that's what I mean when I speak about those terms. And ultimately, our guys continue to play through adversity, and that's important.
Coach, with this Arkansas team, just what similarities or differences does it have to previous Coach Cal teams that you saw when he was at Kentucky?
Well, very similar to his teams. I just think when you look at pound for pound players, they have some talented players, man, some great players, some great individual players. They're a great team. When you look at rebounding, they have the size, right? I think this is one of his bigger teams that he's had. When you look at the size down in the post, when you look at the individual play of guard, they have great guard play. They have wings with size. So it's right there, and they've been in every game. So for us, and like I've said before, our committee, the selection committee, is going to have a very difficult task, because you can't go by AP rankings, you can't go by anything. Will the best teams in college basketball get in the tournament in automatic bids, or the selection of bids? And I think the auto bids take care of themselves. Whether someone is a bid stealer or not, I just think our records does not indicate how good the teams are in this conference and how good they will be come March. And I just hope that part is taken into consideration, because there's no doubt in my mind, this is a top 25 team coming in here.
Coach, how do you prepare for matchups against distinguished coaches like Calipari?
Can you repeat that, please?
How do you yourself prepare to go up against distinguished coaches like John Calipari?
Well, I start with respect, and I watch all the games from their entire season. You know, I've always respected our opponents. I've respected our conference. I've respected, and I will continue to do that. So I start with respect. Hall of Fame coach. You look at coach's resume. You look at his staff. Great staff. You look at the players on the team. Unbelievable talent on this team that he has, that they're bringing in here. So I start with that, and those are the things that are gradually improving through the year. I think sometimes development comes in different forms, and this team that he has, their development, they're getting better, and they have been better. This is a top 25 team that's coming in our gym. We're gonna need our fans to come and obviously support and make the environment as hostile as possible.
One last question.
Coach, obviously Trent Burns hasn't played the past couple of months. Is there any status update on him?
No, there's no status update. As you guys know, you've seen him in a boot, etc. The best part about anything, I don't have to make a decision about that, whether it's a call of a red shirt or anything like that. We don't have to make those decisions. Right now, he's out the boot, and that's important, so he's gradually improving. And there's rules, regulations when you look at medical situations that will allow him, no different than last year, that will grant him opportunity to still play in games. So to my knowledge, I'm still expecting him to return and help this team out from a vertical standpoint, because he is a great rim protector, and we can use his IQ. But I don't have to make that decision right now, and we're going to continue to meet with the medical staff. We're going to continue to monitor, but he's in return to play mode right now. I don't know if that's going to take a week or 3 weeks or 2 weeks. We'll have to figure it out, and it'll be day by day from that point. But it's great to see him out of the boot. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
MIT.
Thanks, Coach.